Welcome back to our series on the changes from the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. We're kind of discussing all of the different changes from standard deduction to different credits and deductions. One of those was the child tax credit, which did increase and is set to increase from year to year moving forward.
Yeah, so this one, with the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that was scheduled to expire at the end of 2025, I think this was definitely on the front burner for legislation to make sure that this got addressed. And the child tax credit has a really interesting history. It was actually originally introduced in 1997. And at that time, it was 400 bucks non-refundable credit. It wasn't a whole heck of a lot. And as I tell a lot of my students, I can't leave the grocery store for under $400 with my kids sometimes. So this is a cool credit because it is retroactive. This change to the beginning of the year with the extra $200. So I think that this is a welcome change, and I'm glad to see that it is just retroactive, that will deal with this on the tax return in the spring of next year, as opposed to trying to come up with some sort of refundable mechanism. So I don't know if you remember the joys of those refunds from the COVID days.
Yeah, when it increased for a short amount of time and it was 3,600
Yeah,
for a while. Yeah.
it was funky. We try to block that from our memory, frankly. So
Yeah.
they're not messing with that. No advanced refund of the $200. But what we're looking at here is picking this up on the tax return when this gets filed in spring of next year. So really trying to anticipate for clients that if you have two children, and you could expect an additional $400 refund, a greater refund for next year. So that's something nice to be able to anticipate. Now the cap on the refundable portion of this and the mechanics in the tax return are always a little funky with how the refundable portion works. Frankly, your AGI has to be pretty low in order for the refundable portion of the credit to be applied. But the general sequencing with credits and withholding is you're going to apply tax credits first, and then you'll apply any withholding from your job that you would have, which is why you get the full amount refunded to you for all practical matters. So I don't see a ton of these in practice where the refundable calculation really has to go through.
No, but if you do end up with the new refundable portion, if that child tax credit did reduce your actual tax to zero, it's not going to necessarily reduce it below zero, but you could pick up some up to 1,400 of that 2,000 uh, just fully refunded to you, regardless of having no more tax liability. So it's kind of a neat refundable portion. Is set to be indexed for inflation along with the child tax credit, which it has been at 2000 since, well, with the exception of the COVID years, it's remained at 2000. Now it will go up every year moving forward.
Yeah. Now, on the opposite end of that spectrum, for folks with much greater AGI, the phase out of being able to take the child tax credit is still applicable, and something to certainly monitor for you as well. Another common theme that we've seen throughout the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is the requirement to have a valid Social Security number.
Yeah. So the child and at least one parent does have to have a valid social security number in order to qualify for the child tax credit.
So always a challenge, right, for those late December babies to have that, and it could be a reason why, if that's kind of the due date for the child, that you may not be able to file, in late January, early February, because you might be waiting on that paperwork to go through. So just a heads up there if that's applicable to you. But overall, I think this is going to be a net positive.
I agree, especially because it'll increase every year moving forward.
Yeah,
So.
you bet. All right. Thanks for watching.